Hello. Regarding Resolution 191-15, recycling contract, I understand we already have a recycling contract. Could you explain what this new recycling contract was for? And the resolution does not state a contract amount. And what is the amount of the contract?
Commissioner Scarpelli?
The amount is going to be based on the amount of recycling material that is recycled, so there's no real amount.
Okay, and what is being recycled other than our existing recycling contract?
It's our contract with our existing recycler ends June 30th.
So this is a new contract.
Contract with a new vendor.
Okay, new contract, new vendor for recycling, which would include the green recycling and what is it for, sir?
Or it's paper, commingled.
Paper and commingled.
Commingled, which is
And so this is
from
not
glass.
from residences, this is,
from residents. The Department of Public Works picks it up. We bring it to a recycling vendor, which is now going to be Integrity as of July 1st. They pay us based on the market rate.
okay, great, thank you. I was just trying to get clarity on that. And on Resolution 182-15, I'm uncertain if the amount to be paid to AGM contractors is $186,000 plus $114,000, because it says funds are available in the amount of $862,000 and $114,000. So is the total contract 862 plus 114,000? The AJM?
Resolution, but
That's for various road improvements?
correct.
So it's a total of 862 plus 114,000, which is almost
Correct.
$900,000 to AJM for various
Almost $1
road,
million.
almost $1 million, I'm sorry. And what are those various roadway improvements? What are those locations?
I don't have them off the top of my head. I will let you know that Lakeside Drive is one of them.
Yay, because that leads to, what does it lead to? It leads to one of our, what does it lead to? What does Lakeside Drive lead to? Kingsland Manor. Okay, so there are various, and how are those roads chosen?
Those roads are chosen. Our engineering department goes out and rates all the roads, and they are prioritized, and they're looked at, and those are looked at and prioritized by not only the potholes, but also the curbs, the condition of the curbs, condition of the sidewalks, condition of the aprons, any utility cuts, any alligator cracking that are in the roads, and those roads are rated. We also look at, once we get some of the roads that we want to pave, we also try to spread them out geographically, so we're not doing just one section of town.
Okay, and that list of roads will be available on our website?
No.
No, it will not. Okay.
Call me tomorrow, I'll give you the list of roads.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Can I have another minute?
Sure.
But just take a second. In 2012, Roche announced they were leaving. In January 2013, Nutley, Clifton, and Roche officials met to discuss prospective developers. In April 2013, Nutley, Clifton, and Roche selected Perkins Eastman to market the 119-acre campus. In August 2013, the Star Ledger reported that Roche had 3 proposals for redevelopment. In October 2013, you, the BOC, hired Perlman Taylor as redevelopment counsel. In January 2014, we had the opportunity to listen to a presentation for 3 mixed-use schemes that were presented at a hotel in Clifton. In May 2015, the medical school announced that it would be using 4 acres. It's now June 2015, and I was just wondering, is there planned another public meeting to update the citizens of Nutley on what is going on with Roche, given the amount of taxpayer dollars that are being spent on redevelopment council and on consultants and on schemes. A lot of people have a lot of questions about what's going on, particularly when gravel is being moved and things are happening.
Well, let me just,
And we just want an update, and
Yeah.
we just love to have an update. I know you may not have answers, but for us and for the taxpayers, because it is
Sure.
9
Well,
million
let me answer you.
availables, okay?
one of our updates have been, in the news that we were informed that Hackensack and Seton Hall signed an agreement which
That's
was.
for 4 acres,
For
correct?
how many?
4?
I believe it's council, isn't it 13 acres?
About 14 acres.
Yeah.
14 acres
About
of
14
119. So we're just concerned about the other acres.
Well,
We think that it's great that 14 acres are accounted for as a lease. However, what we'd like to know is about the other acres.
we have, had talks with prospective buyers, and, you know, the prospective buyers that Commissioner Tucci and I, actually met with, and our attorney was present. They would like to attract Fortune 500 companies, such as maybe a Bank of America.
They being Roche?
No, who the prospective buyers of Roche could be. The developer.
Who is the developer?
Well, we're not, council, we're not at liberty
No,
to.
that's not public knowledge yet.
So there is a potential developer who will be developing the other acres, and you are not at liberty to disclose that name right now, correct?
It might change until,
Oh, okay.
until everything is documented and people sign on the dotted line. At this time, it's only speculation, to be honest with you.
Okay, because in the beginning, it was said that there was, what was Nutley wanted was or what Roche wanted was one developer for the entire site.
That's what we're still hoping for.
And we are still hoping for one developer for the other 110, say, acres.
We're hoping for, Miss Landry, is that there's one developer for the whole project. That's what we're hoping for. And what we can say at this time is that the news has been promising. It's not moving nearly as fast as any of us would like to, but it's a big site, and we want to get it right. Like I said, Commissioner Tucci and myself, the news that we had on the other 80 or so acres that engulfs the road site is that they are looking to attract really good uses such as Fortune 500 companies there, which I think is great news to that
Me
Roche
too.
campus, because just like I've said at other meetings, not just about the rateable there, to me. It's about creating jobs, creating a vibrant community, and bringing people, attracting people, the best and the brightest, that are gonna filtrate through our community as well. Commissioner Tucci, would you like to jump in?
Yeah, I'd just like to add a few things, Mayor. I think you hit all the high spots. Roche is still negotiating, all right, and in discussion with both the developer, all right, and the potential medical school that we hope will be sited there very shortly. As soon as we get the information and we're at liberty to share that information, we would like to do nothing else. We wish we could tell you more this evening, but unfortunately, we're hamstrung a bit because we're waiting for Roche to provide us with the information. And there are a lot of moving parts here. And as the mayor said, we want to get it right. We have lawyers coming from all different angles, looking to protect Nutley's interest. Make sure that this development is a development that's going to serve the community for the next 80 to 100 years and hopefully be a better neighbor to us than Roche was. And Roche was a very good neighbor in their heyday. Right? As things changed and as they merged, things downsized, people were laid off, people away and relocated, but we're still very optimistic that this development will be something that we're going to be proud of for many years. But unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have enough information that's concrete to share.
Okay, so when you said they're in negotiations with the developer, so there is one developer that is in negotiations with Roche, and does that developer also include the portion of Roche that Nutley designated as an area in need of redevelopment?
Well, I believe we designated the entire area, that's what our boundaries, an area in need of redevelopment. So that would include,
Voted Clifton.
Oh, to Clifton, thank you. As did Clifton. So the entire site, all right, is declared an area in need of redevelopment, which provides a lot of tools for the development to facilitate that.
Okay, because I read the report and it said that of the areas that were looked at by the council that was hired by Nutley, that 2 of those areas were not able to be declared in need of redevelopment, one of which was the preschool or the kindergarten
That's
school
correct,
too.
right.
So 2 areas were declared not in need of redevelopment. My question is,
Oh, ma'am, all right, let me just clarify that. Not that they were not declared in need of redevelopment, they were not considered part of the overall development. In other words, they, from the study. There was no ruling on whether,
okay,
that those areas, out property.
outliers, okay.
Not attached to the property, really.
And it was 3 counts.
And so does that,
Three.
Total properties. She only
Three
referenced
total.
2, but I was just referring.
okay, and the third one, would that be what is commonly referred to as the Orecchio parking lot? Was that
That was
included?
1.
The Orecchio parking lot was one.
It's 800 Bloomfield Inn.
800 Bloomfield.
Okay, well, I mean, people refer to, yes, okay, and that was excluded. The area where the preschool was excluded. And what was the third area? Okay, the corner of Bloomfield Avenue. And what will happen to those properties given that they are not included in the redevelopment claim?
All it means is that the town doesn't.
So the town can't acquire those properties because they have not been declared as an area in need of redevelopment. But is the town planning to acquire the areas that were declared in need of redevelopment?
I'll be glad to answer that. No,
No? Okay.
but it gives us the tools to, in this case, in case of an emergent matter, that we would have the ability legally to do that.
And there was a news article that stated that Roche had filed a complaint that Nutley had not followed proper procedure for declaring area in need of redevelopment. Could you address that, Mayor?
Council?
Sure. True that Roche has filed a complaint claiming that the designation of the area is properly done.
Correct.
That,
Of course.
we're gonna, right now, to an extent, file an answer, questions with Roche on a variety of issues. Hard to give you that much detail, Ms. Landry.
Well, it was in the newspaper, I'm just asking.
No, you're right, that's part of the public, I'm talking about Township's position.
Is that, you did the correct thing, and I'm sure you did.
It has to be kept confidential. By completely with properly done. Part of an overall picture, right? A lot of things you can see. Property, activity you see, property, which is good.
And are these cleanup costs being paid beyond the, you know, the environmental remediation? Are these being paid for by Roche?
They are being paid by Roche, and one of the comments I just wanted correction on, prior to market the property, that's not really, Perkins Eastman hired by the Clifton. Roche funded the study to come up with 3 types
The
of
3
proposals
schemes, yeah.
that was presented at a hotel.
And at a hotel in Clifton.
I think the Clifton one, environmental cleanup.
Okay, so pretty much those schemes.
You have been at every presentation as well.
Yes, I have.
So it's hard to keep them straight because there's a lot of them.
Well, I try and keep all this straight in my
I-
head as a
trust me,
taxpayer, because I'm
I
very,
understand what you're saying.
very, you know, concerned about this and
It's
what's going
confusing.
on.
That's why it's important to have hired to help us with these. Not a common, you can ask the developer in the state, complex site, a complex development. There are many moving parts. Law school, I guess that's
Because you're a lawyer.
medical school. Has to sign their deals before everything can be really. I don't want to speak for the commissioners, but we're involved on a weekly basis. Professional standpoint, by the party, optimistic.
Fun question, what currently is the planning board's role in Roche, given that they have presented to the Board of Commissioners they hired a consultant and the consultant came back with their report. What is now the Nutley Planning Board's role in the Roche redevelopment?
One of the benefits of the area redevelopment is that the commissioners now have some authority to do zoning property, but ultimately, the planning board will be involved with regard to site plan approval. Really kind of fluid right now. I can't even tell you exactly because we don't know until we know at what point the committee has to do that when a developer or a developer comes to us. What our plan is, they have the authority to act on it.
Thank you, Council.
Well, and I do thank y'all because usually a property this large, it takes many, many more.
Well, we appreciate it.
It's just amazing, even though it seems like a long time, you know, it really is a very short amount of time that something is happening, at least some of the acres, and hopefully,
Just for the record, Ms. Landry, when we first started this and when we got news that Roche was leaving and I got the call as your mayor, and when we first sat down with Perkins Eastman, a lot of other professionals, they said that this could take up to 25 to 30 years to fill this problem up. And, you know, the state has been gracious enough and we've petitioned them all, you know, to fill in the void as far as our financial gap was. So we're doing a lot of legwork here, and it's become a full-time plus job for all of us. So I know that it's very sometimes frustrating as a resident to say, hey, what's going on? And, you know, we are trying to be good neighbors to Roche. We're trying to facilitate a very delicate deal between three parties, which are Hoffman and Roche, Hackensack and Seton Hall. You know, and I think it's a miracle, and I think we're on a very, very good path right now. Get three enormous companies together to sign on the dotted line to, you know, fulfill an obligation that'll be really, really wonderful to the Nutley residents of this community. And I think we're way ahead of our curve, you know, compared to what the experts were saying.
yes, what it could have taken. Well, I applaud you and Commissioner Tucci, been a tempo, because I know you're on the committee and it takes a lot of your time. So thank you very much, and I know it's going to be a great thing soon for all of us. Thank you.
Mayor, can I just add one thing to that?
Absolutely.
Just relevant to the discussion that once a week, the attorneys all follow up on progress on a weekly. And all the commissioners related to sue, starting to clean up, Commissioner Parks involved, and also being on Evans related to the tax issues. They have all been involved almost on a week, but they can't necessarily share with the public yet. Time comes, there'll be a lot more information.
And what about the Board of Ed? Because it's inevitable that there will be residential there, and we already have a school overcrowding.
I think we should save that for when we get a clearer picture of what the development.
I just wanted to know if the Board of Ed was being included in some.
The Board of Ed, I actually give them updates all the time.
Okay.
I've been in contact with Russ Lazovic weekly, the superintendent.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Is
Mayor,
there,
if I might,
Commissioner, absolutely.
just one final point that I think is very important and people need to be mindful of. Our number one priority is the well-being of this township and the well-being of its residents, and we're gonna do everything in our power to make sure that this is the best development for this township and that this township reaps every benefit that is entitled to. So that's how we're going to proceed. I think we're off to a good start. I think we have the cooperation of the entire governing body. We've hired the appropriate